All right. Hello, everybody. Welcome to Unwrapped. I am Sari Kimball. I am the creator of Food Business Success, and I help people who have a dream, who want to start or grow a handmade product business. So I work with everybody from food is kind of the main thing that I do, but I also work with people who do body care and also pet treats. So all kind of things that you make in your kitchen, your home kitchen, and you want to bring to market. You want to get onto store shelves. You want to be at farmers markets. You want to go online. That is who I help. That's what I love to do. And so I am the creator of Food Business Success. And inside that program, I help you with all of those things. And one of the things that comes up a lot, and these questions are around taxes and especially sales tax. So there are some things that you do need to know about that can be a little bit tricky when you are starting your business. So there's kind of a couple of categories that we need to talk about and break this up into. And the first one is retail versus wholesale. So, retail meaning you're selling what we call direct to consumer, DTC. You'll hear that term a lot. So, DTC, I'm selling directly to the customer. So, that could be through e-commerce, like your own website. That could be at a farmer's market. That could be you doing delivery or they're doing pickup. It could be at a pop-up market, right? Anything where you are interacting one-on-one, you are like selling directly to that customer. Okay. So that would be considered retail. And then wholesale would be that you are selling to somebody who then is going to sell direct to consumer. So there's a middle person, a middle business in between, right? So whatever that looks like, it could be food service, it could be restaurants, right? People like that. It could be a grocery store or any kind of other retail, but you are not selling directly to the customer. You're selling to somebody else who's then going to sell. So in that particular case, in wholesale, you're not going to charge any taxes. So we're just going to take that right off the top that that is 0%. You do not charge them taxes as far as like state, federal, those kind of taxes. Now, I have in Hawaii, I worked with a client who's in Hawaii who did have to charge. There was a special tax that got charged even on wholesale. So you do want to double check with your various government entities, right, wherever you are at. But in general, it's 0%. Oops. There we go. 0% for wholesale. And the reason for that is because if you charged the buyer tax, that buyer is also going to turn around and charge the customer tax. And so it's called double taxation, and we don't allow that in the United States. So only one person is charging tax, and that is the person who's selling direct to the customer. So we now know wholesale. We're just gonna take that out. Okay. So there's the answer to that. Now, here's where it gets tricky for sure. And I would love for you in the comments to let me know what it is you are making. And that helps me to, if you have any questions here, you can put that too. But let me know what you're making. I love to see that in the comments. And also, please like and subscribe to this channel. So, like this video and subscribe. All right. So, retail. Let's talk about retail. Okay, so let's first take whether you are a food product or you are not. Okay, so you're selling retail, and either you are a packaged food for home consumption. So that's all of these things behind me, right? All of these products. So it is a food product that is sealed in some kind of container that is being handed to the customer. That, yes, of course, like if I'm buying a cookie, I can eat it right then, but the main difference being it's in a sealed package, so it's considered packaged food for home consumption. So if I bought a kombucha at the farmer's market If it's in a bottle, like one of these guys over here, right, sealed in a bottle, that is packaged food for home consumption. If they pour me a glass of kombucha, right, and they put a lid on it and put a straw, that is now a ready to eat food, ready to drink, right? And those 2 things are taxed differently in most states. So, all of these things, I'm going to give the caveat that it's like most or some, check the state where you're at, okay? It's always gonna be based on where your business is located, the state that you're operating in. So, it's good to know whether you are a packaged food for home consumption versus ready to eat food. So let's say you sell bread and you're at a farmer's market. If you're handing somebody a loaf of bread that's in a bag, right, that is packaged food for home consumption. If you're slicing bread and handing them a piece, that is ready to eat. All right. So those are taxed differently most of the time. And I have a whole workshop for you guys that I am giving you for free. It's normally $47. So if you go to go.foodbizsuccess.com/tax and then use the code tax free, you can get, I break all of this down in much more detail. I'm trying to just give you a high level here for now. But go get that workshop, and I give you some tools that are really going to help you determine what you are and what the tax rate is, all of that good stuff. But in general, if you are packaged food for home consumption, then a lot of times you are exempt. So you're going to have to look at your state level, your county level, your city level, and then sometimes even within cities, they have additional taxing jurisdictions. So check all of those things. But oftentimes, uh, you will be exempt from one or multiples of those as a packaged food for home consumption. And so, with that, if you are exempt, then you aren't going to charge taxes on your product based on, whether it's city, county, state, etc. So, this is really good to know. I've actually worked with clients who have come to me and they're like, "What?" I'm like, "You don't have to be paying taxes. Like, you don't have to be remitting taxes, and you shouldn't be charging taxes on your product." And they're like, "Oh, so all this time, all this money, right?" So this is really good information to know. So again, in this workshop, I go through and there's a tool to figure out what state and county and those kind of things. So it's super helpful. If you're doing body care, pet treats, anything other than packaged food, then you need to charge all the taxes, right? The city, county, state, all of them. So check what taxes are, check with each of those and find out what that percentage is. So you want to be sure that you build that into your Shopify or your website. You want to be sure you build it into farmers markets. I talk about in that workshop whether you should build in the tax into farmers markets or charge on it separately. And then so that kind of gives you the high level. And then the next layer of that is understanding whether your state is designated as what's called a destination state or an origin state. And it's about split. I was looking at the map before I got on here, and it's more states are starting to go to destination because they make more money. It's more complex, of course. So it's about evenly split right now. And I have a whole map that'll tell you if you are or not. But the difference here, this is on retail, so direct to consumer. This would apply for packaged food or not. If you are packaged food, you are exempt, but if you do have to pay taxes, then you would still be liable, whether your destination or origin. So, what this means is let's say shipping, when I ship you a product, if I'm an origin state, if I do business in an origin state, then I'm collecting the taxes based on where I do business. So I'm paying taxes based on my location as the business owner. When I'm a destination state, when I live in a and do business in a destination, I am collecting taxes based on where you live, where the buyer lives, and whether or not they collect tax. And so it gets pretty messy pretty quickly, as you might imagine. Now, as a small producer, um, there aren't necessarily exemptions, but there are some, it's not as hard as I'm making out to be. Like it can be simplified, but it is something to be aware of to find out what state, if your destination or origin. As you grow larger, there are tools that you can plug into your Shopify account or your other websites that will help you with that. Because I think when I put it in that workshop, I think it was like 11,000 potential sales tax licenses that you might need to have, which is wild, right? So it can get pretty tricky pretty quickly. And so people, when they start to grow and scale, they will use a service that helps them. But if you're a destination state, you essentially have to remit taxes to every single taxing organization, every single taxing entity. So it gets pretty complicated pretty quickly. So good to know that that's out there. We may not be able to be in full compliance right at the beginning, but good to know what you need to be working towards. So that I just wanted to give you a high level, give you some things to think about here. At least get you on the way of like, is this wholesale? It's zero, no tax. Is it retail, direct to consumer? It's like that decision making tree, right? Like, am I a packaged food for home consumption? Yes. Okay, check and see if you're exempt in your city, state, and county. If no, then if you're not food, then you need to pay all the taxes. You need to, right? And then you also need to know in either case, am I origin or am I destination? The other thing I will add, even if you are exempt, if you're a food product, and you are exempt from your state, I would highly recommend that you still, and you might want to call the sales tax license office or email them. But I know at least here in Colorado, um, I always tell people that they need to set up a sales tax license and everything, even if they don't owe taxes, because if they don't, after a couple of years in business, my clients will get a nasty letter from the state saying you owe us taxes. So, what you actually need to be doing is filing what's called a zero tax return with the state, where you're basically putting in your sales for the year and then there's a line for exemptions, so you're backing out the sales, so at the end of the paperwork, it says 0, right? You're not actually paying any money, but you are going on record as actually filing your taxes. So it avoids the nasty letters, which can be rather scary to get. And then you're like, oh my gosh, they're talking about fees and lawyers and da da da. So really good idea, even if you are exempt, to go ahead and call or email your state and see if they want a zero tax return, because they don't know. They're dealing with so many businesses. They don't know that you are exempt, right? So don't put it on them. You need to be the one that handles it and takes care of it. Be proactive ahead of time. All right. So that's what I have for you today. I hope that gives you a little bit of direction, and then go get that sales tax workshop that I put out. And you can get it for free right now. It's go.foodbizsuccess.com/tax. And then the code is tax free. And I will put the links in the description of this video as well. All right. Thanks so much. Have an amazing rest of your day.